Hello, and welcome to our special edition of Ham Talk, episode number 15. This month's show is going to be all about Innovantennas, and I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correct in any way, shape, or form, so forgive me. Typically on Ham Talk, we avoid making actual manufacturer recommendations to specific manufacturers and everything. We do recommend products from time to time, but this month I felt like I needed to make an exception to that guideline, as I am so impressed with every single aspect of this company, from the sales team to the support to the total product build quality and everything, that I think they need to be recognized for the excellence that they perform. When I decided that I wanted to do a show segment on them and their products, I thought, let's test them out with some stupid questions. So I created and tossed a few dumb questions at them via email. Surprise! Not only did they respond very quickly to the questions, and keep in mind, there's a 5-hour time difference between Texas and the UK, but they never once acted or demonstrated any form of exasperation with my dumb questions. And trust me, I threw some dumb ones. I purchased my original LFA Yagi, I want to say back about 5 years ago, for 6 meters. It's a 7-element LFA, and I love it. It is performed excellent. It's held up really well, and there's absolutely nothing I can say bad about it. I later had upgraded one of my old Cushcraft 432 19-element Yagis to a 19-element LFA, and I've loved it. The performance between the two have been close to night and day. Sadly, it died in the great antenna disaster. Let's see, I placed my initial orders for my antennas the last week of November, and they were very forthcoming that with COVID and manufacturing starting back up after the lockdowns and stuff, that I would be looking at 8 to 12 weeks minimum before they could ship. And I believe my orders were probably some of the first in the batches as they geared back up. And one of the things that is impressive too is they provide everything. I ordered antennas, I ordered the H frame, I ordered balance and everything. So it was a total package that I did. And you can see it a little bit in the background here. It's not coming up fully, but you'll see it in future pictures here. Anyway, with so many things happening this month, between Ruth and I coming down with COVID, most of us preparing for the June ARRL VHF UHF contest and other activities and stuff, I thought this would be a perfect month to just have a product show special. So we're going to discuss Innovantennas, which I cannot say, assembly, performance, and why I love them. So let's jump in on that. Here we go. Okay, here's the link to their webpage in case you want to go there and jump ahead of things and follow along on anything. And I'll put this up again at the end of the show. All right, their webpage, I think, is a pretty good webpage. It's very informative. It breaks down why you want to have balance on there. It goes through all their products. It explains what an LFA Yagi is. And overall, it's very informative, easy to navigate, and allows you to buy right online. Here's just a small sampling of some of their product lines. You're going to see that they do HF antennas as well, so they're not just VHF, UHF. They provide H frames, and they'll custom build them to your specifications and needs. And we'll go into that a little bit more in a little bit. You've got some bands that you're probably not familiar with. Remember, they're mostly a UK company. Plus different style antennas and bands. They sort them by band and models. All right. When I first got these two tubes in the mail, I was floored. I was wondering where the rest of my order was, to be real blunt. Uh, they managed to pack in these tubes four antennas, three quads, an LFA Yagi, and an H frame. And I mean, they're not that big a tube, so it just absolutely floored me that everything was all contained in there. But as we go, you'll see, I mean, they've packed it in nice and neat. It's organized. And when I first opened it up, my biggest concern was going to be, how do I get that out of the tube? I expected it to be wedged tight in there. It slid out like it was on greased wheels. I mean, the whole package slid right out. And then the best surprise of them all, everything was individually wrapped. I mean, you can't see that right here. This is how it came out of the tube. And then you open up the first layer of plastic, which I recommend a razor knife on, and it broke down into individual antennas and parts. So everything was all individually wrapped, but it was also all bundled together. So it was a great package. I give the guys an A just for packing. All right, the first thing I did was assemble the H-frame. Because I'm kind of working in a restricted area on a picnic table in the back deck, and we're surrounded by landscape rocks for another project that I have going on. I have too many projects. I kind of just bolted everything together, and then I slid it out to the measurements and stuff that I wanted. Went together really quick. I'm going to say, took me 45 minutes to assemble the entire H-frame. Probably the hardest part was centering the cross mast, and I say that tongue-in-cheek. I took a tape measure, divided it in half, and that's where I put the vertical mast supports for the H-frame in the middle there. Went together well. It's large, but we've got a lot going on, as you're going to see in the very near future here. All right, this is the 432 LFA 19 element Yagi. The mast sections here, you can see they slide together. I'm going to tell you the machine work is perfect. It slid right together. Very tight, very snug. There was no play, there's no gaps, and the screw holes lined right up, and it further locked it down with nuts and bolts with Loctite. The other thing that kind of impressed me, and I just snapped a picture looking down inside the mast, and I don't usually do that, but what I liked about it and wanted to show is how clean it is. You're going to notice there's no burrs, there's no trash from machinery and everything. Everything about this antenna screams quality. All right, putting it together was extremely easy. Every single element is labeled. They are press fit and then locked with a plastic tab. There's absolutely no play, no risk of elements sliding back and forth or anything. It locked together very firmly. I'm going to say my total assembly time for this antenna, start to finish, and when I say start, that was after I unwrapped it. It took a while to get it out of the cellophane it was wrapped in, but you weren't worried about losing any parts because they were firmly attached. But I'm going to say total was 35, maybe 40 minutes. For total assembly. When I put the ballons on, I cable tie them right there, and that keeps the ballon from pulling on the actual fittings, and then the cable hangs loose the rest of the way down the mast and goes, or boom, and goes over kind of a curve to the to the vertical mast that's supporting it. But it's very important that you keep that so it doesn't pull loose from the unit. And there's the completed antenna. It's a little long, 19 elements. And at this point, we put it on a 6-foot mast and tuned it. And it tuned to 1.2 SWR across the band for the SSB and CW portion. And I was a little worried since it tuned up so quick and easy. When we put it up on the tower and got the antenna away from the ground, my SWR didn't change. It still remained rock solid. One of the things I like about the design of these things is they're not impacted by moisture. Pouring rain and things do not change the SWRs on you. I've had some antennas that it rains, you can forget using the antenna that night. All right, for 2 meters, because I'm stacking a set of 7-element quads, we also ordered, as part of the package, their power divider. This is a 2-antenna power divider for 2 meters. And this is allowing us to phase and stack the 2 quads to work as 1 antenna, which gains us an additional 3 dB gain. More on this in a little bit. All right, unlike the last antenna, the quads were not quite as easy. Number one, there are a lot, and I do mean lot, and let me stress that some more, a lot of pieces and parts, okay? And I'm also going to put my first criticism of the company. I thought the instructions and manual for the quad antenna were very lacking, okay? Now, that said, it took me 3.5-4 hours to build my very first quad from them. I opened it up, the first quad took me 3 to 4 hours, and most of that was just figuring it out. When I assembled the second 2-meter quad and the 220 quad, I don't think I spent 45 minutes to an hour assembling them. So once you figured the puzzle out, it's real straightforward. All right, first thing to go is everything goes together. Again, just like the LFA, everything was beautifully labeled. It just was a little confusing getting started. And a lot of what kind of threw the confusion in is the dual mast, and everything. And then also, I have no experience with quads, so some of the design was a little different to me, and then when I got into the tuning. But like I said, once I figured it out, it went really smooth. The first antenna took me a while. The other 2 antennas went together like that, and everything. The units all bolt straight together. Each one is there. Now, one thing that I did think was going to be a problem, and that is when you're tuning it, you have to adjust the length on every single element. So I thought, man, that's going to be a pain in the butt. It turned out to actually be very easy. You go through, you get them all. Basically, you're measuring out the expansion to be the same on each one. And once you overcome the initial tuning, they tune quick too. Probably 15 to 20 minutes per antenna to get it tuned. One area that delayed me a little bit on the first one, and I actually reached out to Innovantennas, or Innova Antennas, and everything for this, because again, I've no experience with a quad, and one of the things that they advised is I needed to turn it up on its end, point it at the sky to tune it. Once I did that, it actually tuned pretty quick and easy. SWR was running originally a little high at 1.7, and it was low on the frequency. They were tuning flat at about 143, 10, something like that. So I had to work a little bit to work it up to the 144, 200. But once I got everything going, it went really smooth and quick, and I was quite pleased. If you're building one, give yourself 3-4 hours to build the first one. If you are building 3 or 4, the rest of them are going to go really, really fast. All right, one problem I ran into on the very first one that I built, and boy, you talk about good luck, is the elements all slide in through the boom, through the mast, and then they're locked in with a bolt. I had 2 elements that would not fit in the holes of the mast, and I had to get a tree bit and ream them out. It literally was like 3 cycles of the drill, and all the rest of the quads went together perfectly smooth without this problem. So it was just a glitch when they were gearing up with the manufacturing. Like I said, I probably got one of the first orders. The rest of them, the fit was beautiful, flawless. It was just that first one. Okay, a couple of things just real fast. Another area I appreciated the square tubing on is working by myself, bolting everything to the H-frame up on the tower. That square tubing is easy on the shoulder when you're using it to help support the antennas. Keep in mind that the quads have 2 booms, so it's a little bit more, twice the fun. All right, let's go to the top of the tower. Let's get the non-LFA antennas out of the way first. With the black mast and the hawk sitting on top of my antenna, you'll see 2 K5VH Omni stacked antennas, and that's for omnidirectional single side band 2 meters. Hawk not included. The in between, on the right hand side, in the middle, between the LFA Yagi and the 220 quad, is a 39 element directive antennas, 23 centimeter 1296 antenna. Okay, let's go back over to the left. On the left hand side is a stacked set of 2 meter 7 element quads, and those are stacked and phased and set up, and the mast and boom, the H-frame, was designed around the ability to stack those 2 antennas. The right hand side is just something we had to work with. I could technically have put 4 7 element quads up there and had them all stacked and phased, and we'd have been all set. But my intent was to stack one set and then put the 432 up there and the 220 quad on the bottom. So that's kind of how we've got everything set up on the tower. The top of the tower is at 60 feet, and then with the mast and everything else, we're running about 70 to 75 feet for all the antennas there. All right, let's go to the next shot, and we'll take a look at that, and it'll give us a little bit more detail. All right. So let's go ahead, and we're just looking at it from a sideways angle here. You can see the LFA 19 element 432 antenna. Behind that is the 2 stacked quads, and then the the single 7 element 220 antenna. I have now tested the quads in the 432 since we put them up, and the performance is absolutely outstanding. So far. Had a great band opening and really enjoyed them. They allowed me to null out some stronger stations that were coming in that weren't part of our conversation. So they worked really well. They were quiet. I had a low noise floor. When I switched to my 15 element stacked Yagis on another tower, my noise floor was about S4. With the quads, I was running right at S2 noise floors. So they offer a lot of noise reduction, and they're quiet. So I'm quite pleased with their performance. I'm going to get to find out a lot in 3 days is the June ARRL VHF contest. So I'm looking to see how those really perform. I'm going to get a good chance to give them a good workout. 432, haven't actually done any contacts with it since we put that one up. It is strictly monitoring a beacon right now, and you can see the null as soon as you start moving about 10 degrees to 15 degrees off. It starts nulling that beacon out pretty quick. So again, the front to side and front to back rejection is fantastic, which is one of the things I really like. I'm hoping to get the 220 connected inside the shack tomorrow for that, and so I'll be testing that, and then of course the non LFA antennas, which is the 23, and that's just one of my 6 23 centimeter antennas. We've got different antennas for different functions. So anyway, I will do a short thing on the next show, letting everybody know what I thought of the performance, how they performed, and everything. But as I've had great experience in the past with the LFA 432 19 element Yagi, and my 6 meter 7 element LFA Yagi, I'm not having any concerns about the performance of these. Anyway, that wraps us up. Thank you for joining us this month. If you're taking part in the ARL VHF UHF contest, we hope to get a chance to work you. K2EZ, Andrea, will be roving in this contest. So please listen to her. She's going to start out in South Texas, and I'm not sure exactly where all she's working her way around, but she's going to start out in the oil patch and start working her way north. So hope to work you guys. Hope you get a chance to work Andrea in a bunch of different grids. And 73, you guys have a wonderful day.